Roger Williams University is hosting a crisis management seminar on May 3rd at their Providence campus. Crises, whether a natural disaster, cyber attack, or financial instability, can have severe repercussions if not handled properly. This is where crisis management plays a pivotal role. Join Roger Williams MBA students and expert speakers to learn how to prepare for the unexpected. The program is totally free and open to the public. You can register online at rwu.edu/events/crisis-management-symposium. This is the Bartholomew Town Podcast. Christian McBride, Artistic Director of the Newport Jazz Festival. This is, it's always such a magical time of year, but this year in particular, with everything going on in the world, especially here in our country, talk about music as a connector and how this festival specifically serves as a hub for those conversations.
Music is both I think it's something that could be studied, that has been studied in terms of health, mental health, physical health. There's something about music that has been a universal healing force. My friend Frank Lacey pointed out that music is something that you can't see, touch, or smell. It's something that you get through your ears, and it gets into your body. And there's a magic in that, So no matter what differences people have, if you can really connect on a musical level, you are healing. You are putting out some sort of an inner fire, or creating one to inspire you to do something, hopefully something positive, but music has always been a great connector. Musicians have always been the greatest world ambassadors. Back in the early 60s, people like, back in the 40s, 50s, and 60s, people like Louis Armstrong, Duke Ellington, Benny Goodman, Lionel Hampton, Dave Brubeck, they were sending them over to the Middle East and Russia and China to help build world relations. That's how it was done, and God knows we need that again.
Yeah, it's so true. I mean, the notion of music as a form of diplomacy,
right?
It's something that, again, it's universal, but I don't know, it just feels like that in this moment right here, things are scary out there, yet when you're inside the fort specifically, or wherever, if you're in, headphones, you're working with a band, whatever it is, you're able to go to a higher plane that you realize you're able to assess everything that's happening in the world and say, hey, there's something bigger out there, and that connection point is really what needs to motivate us, not those division points.
Right. Well, throughout history, particularly in American history, there have been all kinds of points in our history where music has been the sort of bookmark of tensions in our country, and you can look to those musical moments as sort of times that brought people together. You think about the 60s, or when all of the race riots were going on and things like that. It was always the music that brought people together. Various points in our country where things are going. What's happening in our world right now? It's the concept of division and strife has hardly new, right? But music as a healing force is also not new. So we just got to double down on the music and get more people here so we can join together on a spiritual level.
Couldn't agree more. George Wein, obviously the visionary behind this event and the folk festival, and really just a music luminary for sure. Your thoughts on the first festival post the George Wein era, so to speak?
Well, I'll tell you what, I certainly feel George's presence. It's impossible to come to the Newport Jazz Festival and not feel George Wein, especially if you knew him. Just a beautiful, monument outside, his golf cart.
I love the Ween machine.
Yeah, the Ween machine, and people have been leaving flowers. It's so beautiful. So even though he's no longer here with us in the physical, as far as I'm concerned, his presence still looms large. I mean, because if something goes wrong, God forbid, I know that all of us are still going to hear and feel George's voice like, "Hey, what are you doing?"
Yeah.
You know.
Your work this year is really interesting. You had an awesome collaboration yesterday. We're taping this on Saturday morning. It's sort of omnipresent, and I think it sets this festival apart that, even from folk, that as artistic director, you're on stage, you're forging these collaborations. Talk about that, the we're in both hats, if you will, the producer side of it, if you will, and then the artist side of it.
It's a fun hat to wear. It's a heavy hat, but it's one that I enjoy because it helps. See, I have wonderful personal relationships with nearly all of the artists that play at this festival. And it's always been like that. As a working musician, the jazz community is very tight and not tremendously huge, And so we all know each other. We've all played with each other. We've all collaborated with each other. We've all jammed with each other at various points, So it's not too much of a stretch to wear the producer hat, the MC hat, the playing hat, because we all do that to some extent anyway.
Yeah, it's natural in your MC role as well. I think that really ties the festival together in a beautiful way. You know what I mean? It really brings people inside, your vision, if that makes sense.
Well, thank you. I've always, I come from a background of rhythm and blues and soul. So I grew up watching a lot of great R&B and gospel artists put on really great shows. So the concept of the MC was a very important element to those shows. And so when I started becoming a jazz musician and these MCs or these hosts would get on stage and they would say, "Welcome to, whatever the name of the club is. We want you to sit down and be quiet, and we like to read you the calendar for the next 2 months.
Yeah.
Next week we have," and I'm sitting there backstage dying like, these people can read? Why are you reading the calendar for the next 2 months? Meanwhile, the introduction is like 15 minutes long, and the artists are back there nodding out, and now the audience is, they were hyped. Now you've lost them, So for me, being an MC, you gotta get the crowd up, make it short, quick, get them excited, and then get out of the way. They can read the calendar.
Yeah, no doubt. Last question. So something that I've, I was in New York for a decade, and obviously it's a different environment than Rhode Island. Let's be honest about it. At the same time, Rhode Island has a tremendous music community in and of itself and a lot of infrastructure. When you come to Newport, do you see the possibility for what happens here at, let's say, Folk and Jazz Festival to trickle down or, create an entertainment economy in Rhode Island? Do you get the sense that that's something that's possible, and is that even something that the festival should be concerned with, in any way, shape, or form?
In the state of Rhode Island?
In the state of Rhode Island, yeah.
Well, I don't know enough of the state of Rhode Island to answer that question. I mean, really the only Providence and Newport, those are the only places I know of.
That's about it. And then some ocean, some country,
Right. My wife went to Brown.
Okay.
So I have gotten a sense of Providence every now and then, but jazz needs, it's always needed, pretty much since the 40s, a bigger audience. So if that means, having a trickle down in Rhode Island, great, but we're also looking bigger, because we want jazz to get into places that jazz doesn't usually get to. We always have this running joke that in the jazz world, every single artist's itinerary pretty much looks the same. We all go to the same places because there's only a handful of jazz clubs, jazz festivals in the country. So we gotta work that out, So yeah, Rhode Island, that'd be great, but we also need to get it more nationwide.
Christian McBride, Artistic Director of Newport Jazz Festival. a great MC, by the way, and also an amazing musician, one of the best living bass players, undoubtedly. So thanks for your time.
Thanks, man.
Thanks,
Pleasure.
man. Hey guys, with the increasing legalization of cannabis across the country, including most recently here in Rhode Island, the cannabis industry is growing at an accelerating pace. If you are already in the industry or wondering what is the best path to break into the cannabis field, the University of Rhode Island has a program to help educate you in the evolving space. Fully accredited by URI's College of Pharmacy, the online certificate program covers topics related to product development, chemical analysis and testing, and patient and customer therapeutics. The application deadline for the fall session is August 2nd, coming right up, and the courses start on September 6th. Learn more at uri.edu/online/cannabis or give them a call at 401-874-5280.
At HealthSource RI for Employers, we provide access to health insurance to more than 1,100 local businesses and nonprofits, and 96% of them renew through us every year. Maybe it's our choice of 19 different health plans, our 10 years of customizing solutions, or our one local team of dedicated experts helping employers find quality health insurance. See how our numbers stack up for you. Learn more at healthsourceri.com/employers.